Hello and welcome back to Catamaran Site. Today we're joined by Erin, founder and director of Rome Generation PR, a PR agency dedicated to travel, leisure, and luxury brands. So our objective today is to take a dive into the sailing influencer world, one that Erin is particularly familiar with, and we'll be exploring Erin's own experience on board, where the idea of Rome Generation PR was born, I believe. And we'll be asking Erin's advice and recommendations for anyone looking to become a part of the sailing influencer community. Or should I say, #BoatLife. So without further ado, Erin, would you please tell us about yourself and give us a deeper insight into what you do at Rome Generation PR?
Sure. Thank you so much for having me, Alicia. Yes, so like you said, I am the founder and director of Rome Generation PR. It all came about while I was living on my boat with my family. We own a Moody 47. And about 5 years ago, we were sailing through the Caribbean, and I was kind of feeling like a little bit, I don't know what, not bored because, I was in paradise, but I wanted to use my brain. I had taken a year off work, and the first year was amazing, but come the second year, I was just feeling like I wanted a bit more of a challenge. So I started racking my brain about what I could do to help people, the people that we were meeting along the way. And an example of those kind of people were SV Delos. They were one of the first people that we met out there sailing. And I knew that I wanted to work with them and similar people who had an amazing story to share, but I wasn't sure how to go about that. So I started my hand at writing, and I was writing articles about these cool people and places and things that I was experiencing. And then that just kind of organically grew into doing PR for people that I was meeting. And SV Delos then became a client, actually my very first client. And from there, my company has just grown to really cater to a whole range of clients in the travel and lifestyle and adventure space. And that naturally has also included quite a number of sailing influencers and YouTubers and marine companies, and now bigger travel businesses. So from day one, we have been all about sharing the amazing stories of the people that we're meeting. And because we were living the lifestyle that we represent, it has made it much easier for me and now my team to be able to share stories, because, we are able to write with such feeling, I suppose, and with real world experience, because we understand boats and we understand what it's like to live on one. Hence the #BoatLife kind of thing. If you type that into the internet, basically the majority of articles that come up have been not written by me personally, but kind of instigated by me. So for PR, the main part of what we do is media relations, and that means that I have pitched these stories to journalists, and they've then written about my clients. So a lot of the people that are in the #BoatLife articles have been or are clients of ours. So yeah, it's been a wild ride, met some awesome, amazing people, and have grown my business beyond what I ever dreamt possible. And yeah, absolutely love what I do. So I'm very lucky.
Would you be able to give us an example, please, of one of your clients and their sailing influencer success story?
Yeah, so we'll start with SV Delos. When I first started working with SV Delos, they were like rock stars to us. We used to watch them every video that they released. We would watch, my husband and I, in the lead up to becoming cruisers. So, if someone had said to me, who are your idols, it wouldn't have been a movie star, it would have been people like SV Delos. So to then work for them, it was a real pinch me moment. And after a while, it became normal. They are just lovely people, exactly how they are on their videos. But one of the things that I was able to arrange for them was there's a YouTube channel called Exploring Alternatives. And I haven't checked recently, but I think they have around 1.5 million subscribers. And at the time, SV Delos had around 350,000 subscribers. So this is a little while ago. Anyway, it just was kind of the right time, right place. I had arranged a collaboration between Exploring Alternatives and SV Delos, whereby they were going to film their boat and just make an article about the boat that they live on. And then it just happened to be released right at the start of the pandemic, when everyone was locked up at home and bored and looking maybe for a way to escape. SV Delos's video went live, and then it happened to go viral. So I think it was viewed around 14 million times, which ended up with SV Delos getting hundreds of thousands of new subscribers like within that month. And yeah, so a really exciting result for a PR person to have someone go viral. It doesn't happen very often. So that's one example. And then I've just got on my second screen here. Recently, well, not so long ago, I work with Ryan and Sophie Sailing as well, and they were interviewed by a journalist at Business Insider, and she loved their story so much that she went on to then write 3 separate articles about them, and those 3 articles were then picked up by yahoo.com into 3 more articles, which was then picked up by msn.com, and then the Daily Mail jumped on board and also wrote a couple of articles about them. So in 1 month, we were able to get 16 pieces of coverage, which reached an audience of 4.94 billion people. So, you know, that's the power of PR. Certainly that doesn't happen every month, but there's just a couple of examples of amazing things that we can achieve through PR, and what really kind of sets PR apart and above advertising and marketing.
For a catamaran owner who is looking to embark on their own journey as a sailing influencer, how would you recommend that they begin?
Yeah, so I think an important thing to ask yourself is, you know, why are you doing this? Are you doing this to make money? Are you doing this because you want to become famous? I'm not sure either of those things are going to really catapult you into the right direction. If it's one thing I noticed from the clients that I've worked with, is that they all genuinely are doing it because they love it, and they mostly started out just by filming for family and friends. It was just always going to be like an escape, a creative escape, a bit of fun. I know that things have changed, and a lot of cruisers embark on a journey hoping that their YouTube channel will sustain them. I personally am not, you know, that puts a lot of pressure on the lifestyle. You know, I've lived on a boat. I can say from experience, I've worked full time on a boat while cruising. It's hard work. And if you were short on money and you relied on this to fund your cruising, then it's going to be difficult, and that's going to come across in your videos because you're going to be like a little bit desperate. There are other ways, and I can't kind of stress this enough. You don't just have to rely on YouTube to fund your trip. I personally started out in writing and was quite successful, and I'm not a writer, so don't think, yeah, but I'm not a writer. I wasn't a writer either. And I was able to make enough money to sustain our trip through writing. There are plenty of sailing magazines that are always after people contributing articles and thought leadership kind of pieces and everything. So there's that avenue. There's like virtual assistants. There's honestly a ton of things. There's podcast editing. So, you know, first of all, my advice is to really think about what you want to do, the ways you can make money, what you're good at, what you enjoy. Ask friends for their advice. You know, what are people always kind of coming to you and asking about? Maybe there's something in that you can create a business from. If it is in being an influencer, then really think about what is your point of difference, what sets you apart, what are you good at and what do you like. If you can kind of find that magic recipe, because if you don't love what you're doing, it's going to be super hard to sustain. You have to be a little bit obsessed really to succeed, because it requires that level of dedication. And then it's just going to be not giving up. If you don't quit, then you will succeed. It just really depends how long that will take. But it's a pretty long journey from what I have witnessed. But I haven't kept a YouTube channel personally. I have only done the PR for people that have. So happy to be told otherwise, but from what I've observed, that's kind of what I can offer.
If it's not really your passion to do that, you're not being authentic. So let's say that somebody that's watching this interview right now thinks, no, it is my passion. I want to embark on this journey, and the influencer lifestyle, I think, is for me. I want to give it a shot.
Mm-hmm.
There are so many fantastic influencers out there, particularly, talking specifically about catamaran influencers. So we have, just to name a few, La Vagabonde. Okay, they're now having a trimaran built, but they were on a catamaran beforehand. Gone with the Winds and sailing Katara.
Yeah.
Katara, sorry, I think I'm
Zatara.
Sorry, that was a mix-up between Catalpa and Zatara there.
Yes.
Catalpa is not a cat. Zatara
No,
is.
they're not. Yeah. There are a ton.
There
and
are.
Everyone seems to be moving to a catamaran. If they're not on a cat now, they're building one or they're buying one.
What can they learn from the great influencers that are already out there, that already have a significant following, and that already have achieved success, so to speak?
So, well, first of all, the most successful YouTubers have been doing it for a long time. So don't think that it's overnight success. Like Gone with the Winds, I remember watching them before we even embarked on our trip, and we've been and gone, and we were out there for 4 years on my back. So it's been probably 7 years for them. It's like probably 12 years for SV Delos. Ruby Rose have been out there for years. All of these people have been doing it for a long time. So Tara's just finished a 7-year circumnavigation. They have been consistently and persistently uploading videos the whole time. So that's two of the keys. Be persistent and be consistent. Be determined, have grit, don't give up. They're like just the key elements to any business, really. And I think what I can attribute some of my success to, because I always say, look, I'm not like the sharpest tool in the shed. I don't think I'm the most intelligent or the most of anything, really, but I am consistent and persistent and determined. So if you can get those 3 things kind of nutted out, then you'll be successful. The other thing is that they're all kind of unapologetically themselves. So like I said, I've worked with SV Delos for almost 2 years. They are exactly like they are in their videos. Keith from Satara, he's not everyone's cup of tea, but he's being himself. The Winds, they're like quirky and different, but they're the same in every video. And I think people, they want that. They need to know that you're being yourself. So try, as hard as it might be, to not be acting or performing on video, to just be yourself. That's important. What else? There are obviously a lot of things that you can do PR wise, marketing wise, promotional wise, which I can give some quick tips for, I suppose. Like come up with reasons why people want to know about you. Don't just think that because you think they should know about you, they actually care, but really like dig deep in to understand what do you offer, what are you offering, what value do you bring, who are you serving. Don't try and serve everybody. If your target audience are retirees and that's who you're speaking to, then don't try and also impress the 20-year-olds. They're not going to get it like your target audience do. So guess don't try and please everybody. And what else? If another important thing is actually to really speak to your audience and include them and respond to them and serve them. So don't try and think about, I know with SV Delos, they're very all about their tribe, and that is not an act. Like, that is genuine. So if you're coming from a place of service and from wanting to genuinely help others, I feel like you'll be more successful. And if you can put out content that is useful to other people, then great. If you can do good while also being successful, that's another great thing. So, you know, if you're selling around the world, but you're also helping people along the way, that's always going to be awesome. Obviously, don't just help people for the likes and the views, but be genuine. So yeah, there are like a ton of things you can do. I guess my advice would be to really nail those main things. Think about what your purpose is, why you're out there to begin with, who your target audience is, what sets you apart. And then once you really understand yourself and what you're doing, then just be unapologetically yourself in each and every video, bring value to the people that you're serving. And then on top of all of those things, once you've got really great content, I mean, this day and age, you need to be a great editor. You need to have really good content. You need great sound and video equipment. Like, there's really not an excuse for not having that now. Unfortunately, we've moved like above and beyond just the whole point and shoot kind of camera. So perhaps pay for an editor, pay for someone to help you kind of get all that happening. Yeah, so there's a lot. It's a hugely saturated market. It's going to be hard to cut through the noise because there are so many sailing YouTubers these days. But try and think what hasn't been done. Try and be different. Try and think outside the box. You know, we have a lot of general sailing influences. Maybe you can do something a little bit different. What that is will depend on, you know, what you're passionate about and what you can come up with.
Every influencer really does have their own thing, and that ties into, again, the authenticity that, you know, you've also spoken about. You said being genuine. Everything has to come from a genuine place. So whether it's Delos and their tribe, or whether it's you know, the vagabond and their lifestyle as parents on board, or I mean, that there's so many, whether it's Catalpa who left with $5,000.
Yeah, it was like a cement ferro boat,
Yeah,
which would scare most people, but they did it, and yeah, got quite a big distance, and they managed to get the funds together for a bigger boat. They're like Aussie battlers that just didn't give up.
What is a realistic goal for success in terms of monthly income for a sailing influencer?
So my opinion is, if someone else can do it, why can't you? That has been from the get-go. When we first, because we weren't sailors, when we watched a documentary one night about Laura Decker, the youngest girl to ever sail around the world, and our motto kind of became, if she can do it, why can't we? And then we found out that other families were out here doing it, and then, you know, it all kind of just snowballed from there. But that's what really kept me going. They figured it out, so I'll be able to figure it out. The same has kind of been with my business all along. It's like, well, other people are working and making enough money to survive while cruising. Why can't I? Think about it that way. Look, there are no guarantees that you're going to succeed or that you're going to be as popular as the Vagabond or Delos, but I'm all about mindset and believing in yourself and manifesting and putting it out there to the universe. And it's not because I'm woo-woo, and never really was, but I've experienced it. So that's what makes me kind of think that way now. I would never have dreamt that you know, my husband and I would have bought a boat and lived on a boat and sailed halfway around the world. That's just was never on our radar, and never something I thought we could achieve. I would have, secondly, never have dreamt that I would run a successful company. So I'm like so open to just going, what the hell? If they can do it, so can I. So set your sights high. Don't limit yourself. I fully believe with YouTube and Patreon and sponsorship deals and whatever else you can kind of wrangle up to get the money coming in. And there are little things you can do for passive income while also doing YouTube. I do believe that you can make enough to sustain your journey, but it's going to be hard. And I think there are probably easier ways that you can make the money and still cruise. If cruising is your ultimate goal, don't limit yourself to doing YouTube. But if YouTube is your ultimate goal, then go for it. But don't expect that it's going to make enough money straight away to be able to cruise. Catalpa have been battling away at this for years. I think they're up to the 7-year mark as well. And I think now maybe they're not making enough money to survive and get this new boat. So many other cruises have been similar. Nanji, they have also been at it for years, finally got enough to get the next boat. So I would start early, start before you've even left. I think what's kind of worked for me is that I'm like a dog with a bone, so I don't give up, and I'm always like looking for new ways to reach someone or to get something, or I don't take no for an answer. That's how I think you've got to be. So always have that. And I don't know if hustle culture, it's a thing. It's not necessarily regarded as a good thing, but in my line of work, you do have to kind of be hustling and trying to have 10 fingers in 10 pies. And I think that's probably how it's going to be if you want to be successful as an influencer as well. You've got to build those relationships. If you want to get sponsored, you need to not only have like a loyal and dedicated following, but you need to also build relationships, put the time in, pound the pavement. It's not going to take just one email to a sale company and you're going to get a brand new sale. It is going to take time. So start as soon as you can, be genuine, build those relationships, reach out, make connections, network. Yeah, there's a lot you can do, but just have like realistic expectations at the same time. But don't let your expectations limit you, because if you put it out there that you truly and honestly believe that you're going to be a successful sailing YouTuber, then I have no doubt that you will become one.
There's a lot of people in the space. It's been filling up in the influencer space. I mean, over the last 10 years or so. Has it become easier or harder over the last 10 years to break through into the influencer space?
Look, I think for obvious reasons, it may seem harder because there are so many people now. I know when I first started working in this space, there were around 800. I don't know the official count now, but I know we got up to, 2,000 or more. So that's going to make it harder. But there's also a lot more education around this topic now. There's a lot more understanding. There's a ton of courses that you can do. There's a lot of learning that can be found online. There are a lot of people you can ask. I'm a big believer in just putting yourself out there and, asking people for help if you need it, approaching, introducing, networking. I've been amazed at where that can get me. So I think that that's really helpful. So yeah, I also think with the things that we can do with PR and the other ways that we can get your name out there, there are certainly the possibilities of reaching a big audience. But it is a saturated market, so you do need to kind of think, I guess it comes back to the start, what sets you apart, why are you doing it, who are you trying to reach, who are you trying to serve. If you can have all of those things really clear, then there's no reason why you can't still be as successful as anyone before you, because people still want to watch this content. It's clearly still a very popular subject, and yeah, I don't think you need to be deterred by the number of people. You just probably need to be a little bit smarter and work a little bit harder.
Where are the biggest opportunities to build a following at the moment? You've picked up a little bit about Patreon, obviously the social spaces, and YouTube, of course.
Yes, so I mean, TikTok is still very popular and a lot of people have had a lot of success there. And I'm actually not sure how many sailing YouTubers are on TikTok. So that could leave a bit of room for some growth in there. Look, Facebook is still popular among my age group and older now that I'm, a geriatric millennial or whatever they're calling us. So there's certainly that is still popular among the older people, but not so much. Well, I mean, my kids have assured me that definitely no young people are on there anymore. Instagram is still really popular. So I mean, I don't think I've got anything to share that's really rocket science or new information here. And I'm not aware of any new kind of platforms, although there possibly could be. But I think this is where the majority of the sailors are hanging out, cruisers and those that are interested in this lifestyle. But other places where they are also hanging out would be sailing magazines. So there's nothing stopping you from pitching a sailing magazine. You don't have to be a writer to reach out. If you've got a good story idea, then reach out to the editor and share your idea. There's nothing saying that you can't produce a great article. You could help get someone to pay. Pay like a content writer who might be able to help you if you've got a really good idea for a story. And reach out to podcast interviews and promote themselves if they wanted to as well.
Yeah, and I think that's a really good selection of options, and perhaps some that people don't always think about. We think more frequently about the social media.
Yeah. There are a ton of sailing podcasts out there and they interview regular people like you and I. So reach out to them. Their email addresses are usually pretty easily found on their websites, and then put together a bit of a pitch. So a pitch is usually like a 2 or 3 paragraph email just summarizing who you are, what you can speak about, why their audience would be interested in hearing from you. And then you're just hacking your own PR. You're basically doing similar to what we would be doing, but you're doing it yourself. It is time consuming and you will need to follow up. So don't get discouraged if you don't hear back on the first email. Like we even send up to 3 emails every time we pitch somebody. But if you're persistent again and just keep trying to reach different people, eventually you should get some responses, and all of those little things add up. So they not only help with like increasing your brand awareness, but the authority of your brand. It improves your SEO, it improves your Google ranking. So there's all these like benefits to doing that. And certainly if you don't have the budget for a PR agency, which a lot of cruisers won't at the start, then yeah, just try and do it yourself.
But for somebody who does need your help and wants to get in contact with you to help them with their PR as they embark on their sailing influencer adventure, how can people find out more about you and get in contact with you if they wish to do so, please?
Yeah, of course. So my company is called Rome Generation. My email is admin@romegeneration.com. You can find our website at www.romegeneration.com, and we're just at Rome Generation on all of the socials. So Rome Generation, ROAM. So that was the name of our boat. And yeah, I love the word Rome. So naturally had to become part of my company.
Fantastic, and we'll be sure to put the links in the transcript below so that people can access those easily and quickly. I'm really grateful for our conversation today, Erin. I found it really insightful. I think you've given up a lot of incredible information for people looking to take a dive into the sailing influencer world, and I think it'll be very beneficial for them to watch this interview and really learn from you and your experience.
Thank you. It was my pleasure, and it was so lovely speaking with you.
Thank you, and you too. Hopefully we'll be able to catch up another time in the future.
I hope so, on a catamaran, hopefully.
That would be phenomenal. It's the family dream here too, so It's not unlikely.
Sounds good. Thanks again.
Thank you.
Bye.
Have a lovely day.